Hey everybody, welcome back to the Wolf Pit with another episode of What Are We Eating? If you love seafood, everyone, well maybe I shouldn't paint with such a broad brush, because there's always that one person in a common crowd that's going to genuinely disagree or not like something you're talking about for one reason or another, and that's okay for them to be wrong. Hey, don't talk about me like that. But generally, if you love seafood, you love a good seafood boil from time to time, especially one you make at home, because you can season it exactly how you like it, with any kind of herbs, spices, citrus, or seasoning blends that you like, and not have to worry about it being overly spicy for yourself or your guest. It also gives you the opportunity to customize your seafood boil to seafood that you enjoy and to seafood that you can afford, which cost is going to be the biggest factor when you're eating a seafood boil, whether it's out in a restaurant or at home, because good quality seafood is expensive no matter where you're at. Sure, you can get good quality, inexpensive seafood if you're near the source, i.e. the ocean. Yeah, I gotta agree. My grocery store has good prices on cheap seafood. Well, thank you, Scooter. I'm really appreciative that you are participating so much in this video today. And you, the Scooter, are the only person that could not have said that any better. I have 2 points that I'm trying to make in this video, and I'm not sure I'm really going about them the right way. But here they are. Number 1, it's not just a point, it's a fact. Seafood is expensive. Number 2, everyone has different levels of income, and unfortunately sometimes our pocketbooks dictate what we eat. For instance, an online seafood company sent me all the seafood you see here in this seafood boil several years ago in exchange for me to do a video for them, and this seafood boil would have cost about $450 with the seafood they sent me. I would have never been able to afford this seafood on my own. Some people can, some people can't. I can't and wouldn't spend that much money. This seafood boil costs under $75 and is more of what I can afford. And we enjoyed the $75 seafood boil just as much as we did the $450 seafood boil. Which leads me to one third and final point before we get into today's video. Finally, as you've heard me say it many times before, especially in my budget videos, use what you have on hand and especially eat what you really enjoy. Food doesn't have to be luxurious or expensive to be delicious. For many years now, you, the people, have been asking me, the person, to try Aldi's. Until the other day, I've never been in an Aldi's. And if it wasn't for the very nice older gentleman who checked me out, I probably will never go into another Aldi's again. But his very upbeat, friendly personality may make me want to go in and just say hello to him again. You, the people, generally do not steer me wrong. So maybe it was just the Aldi that I visited. I literally felt like I was in Blaine's. Yeah, I know where that's from. Shh, Scooter, don't give it away. We want everyone else to guess too. So along with some of the things that I picked up to try for you, the people, so you don't have to, was this 2-pound bag of Fremont's Fish Market seafood boil that contains raw shrimp, corn on the cob, mussels, red skin potatoes, andouille sausage, and Cajun-style seafood packet for $9.99. At this point, I'm very skeptical because that's a very low price even for a subpar seafood boil. And right out of the bag, it's ready in under 10 minutes. Just pour and boil. What a perfect, quick weeknight dinner for one. That's right, I'm just stating facts, Jack. Any good seafood lover worth their crustacean knows that this would just be a pregame in a seafood meal. So the instructions say to add 4 cups of water to a large pot, and then to add half of the packet of Cajun-style seafood seasoning. And of course we had to taste the seasoning right out of the packet, and it smelled and tasted just like Old Bay seafood seasoning, with hints of vinegar and citrus, which wasn't too bad. However, the Old Bay flavor, along with the other flavors, was pretty bland, and certainly didn't have much Cajun flavor that I've ever had, especially when it came to spice, which is okay, because some people don't like a lot of spice. So once our Cajun-style seasoned water has come up to a boil, we added the corn on the cob first because they're going to take the longest to cook. And then I'm going to assume, with only 2 pieces of corn, that Fremont Fish Market produced this to make 2 servings. That's just my assumption. I threw the bag away before I had a chance to take a picture of the nutrition facts, thinking that I could find them online. But so far I haven't been able to. So next we started adding the rest of the seafood, and almost all the shells on the scallops were cracked or broke, and I already knew that the shrimp were going to be twice as big now as they were when they're done due to the ice crystallizations on the outside, which protects them when they're frozen, which is fine with me. And I already knew that the only seafood in this was the shrimp and the mussels, but I kept seeing little round pieces that I was hoping and praying were little pieces of scallops. But then I thought about it. At this price point, they weren't going to be real scallops, so I was glad they weren't in this. So you, the people, already know that I generally follow the directions on the package to see how something will turn out. Now, like I previously stated, but I promise you, I are not a dumb man either, especially when it comes to seafood. And for the record, on the record, 8 to 10 minutes is too long to cook this bag of seafood. So I let it come up to a boil, turn the heat off, and let it sit there for a couple minutes, and then I drained and sprinkled with the rest of the Cajun style seafood seasoning. If the corn and the potatoes are undercooked, that's on me. I'll deal with it. And fortunately, corn is like seafood. It doesn't take very long to cook. As a matter of fact, like most vegetables, you can eat them raw. So we tried a piece of the corn first, and it actually looked really good and it looked really fresh. So into the old pie hole and down the gullet it went. Now I watch Report of the Week all the time, and I was always curious why he took one bite and then he would come back and take another and sometimes a third. And he'll sit and contemplate for 10 to 15 seconds before saying anything. And if it's like anything I just went through, it's to keep its composure from completely going how to basic on the food he's trying. This piece of corn was like I was eating a dry and stringy mop. 90% of the time, even frozen dinner manufacturers get frozen corn right. Next, we went in to try a mussel, which I love mussels. Verlissa, on the other hand, has never tried a mussel and was not going to try one today. By how dry and petrified this mussel looks was probably a good decision on her part. Not to mention the perfect shot of the .22 long rifle through the mussel, which, don't get me wrong, that hole should be there, but should not look like that. That's where the abductor muscle connects to the mussel and the shell, which opens and closes the mussel for it to filtrate. And I know this doesn't make sense to some people, but seafood should never taste fishy. Good fresh quality seafood should have a very delicate, sweet, briny flavor to it, like the ocean. Bodies of water can change the flavors of some seafoods as well, but no seafood should ever taste like that mussel that I subjected my taste buds to. It's sour and overly salty, which is a sign of spoiled old seafood. The texture was even worse. It was powdery on the inside and chewy on the outside. Let me rephrase the chewy part. It was leathery on the outside. Next, we shanked a couple pieces of the andouille sausage. It smelled good, but it looked a little bland. So into the old pie hole and down the gullet it went. And initially it had a good punch in your mouth spice to it. But then from there, all the flavor went away. And that was probably partially due to the fact it was dry as heck. It wasn't yet to the level of a crouton, but we were almost there. So in order to save what I was hoping to be the best for the last, we had to try the potato next. The potatoes certainly looked good, but I just could not get over how dry they were. How dry everything in this bag was so far. How long does something have to sit in the freezer to literally freeze dry? The potato was literally like a dehydrated potato chunk. Next, we tried the shrimp, which I was hoping would be the best out of the bag. The shell peeled off exceptionally easy. Well, as you can see, it was already basically falling off. The shrimp looks decent. So into the old pie hole and down the gullet it went. Now don't get your hopes too high, because I certainly wasn't, but it was the best part of the bag. The shrimp was surprisingly plump and moist, but at least to me, they tasted like the typical farm-raised foreign shrimp, which is fine if that's what you like, have access to, or can afford. And just like you've heard her, the person, say before, Verlissa loves shrimp, no matter how you cook them. You can't mess them up. So she floundered through the plate of shrimp here and enjoyed a few more. And then I had one final bite of everything. The shrimp, the andouille sausage, and the mussel. For you, the people, so you didn't have to. Somehow, some way, these shrimp were the saving grace of this seafood boil, which is why I'm giving Fremont Fish Market Seafood Boil a 2 out of 10. Thank you all very much for watching. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe, and I'll see you soon.